Shalee Peters here with you on the Rural Radio Network, and we are here in Kearney at the annual 97th Annual Nebraska Farm Bureau Convention, and I'm joined here by Mark McHargue. He is the first vice president with NFB. And Mark, a lot of things coming up on your agenda tomorrow, specifically as you start to deal with some of the policy issues. Go into some of that.
You know, we're going to have our major policy development talk with all of our delegates tomorrow. So it's really a culmination of things that we've thought about all the way through the year, as our counties have thought about through the year, and tomorrow will be the culmination of actually discussing those policies and adopting them. And ultimately, they will go into our policy book, and that's what we will stand on. That's what we'll lobby and advocate for the balance of the year.
Okay, and what are some of the issues you plan on discussing during tomorrow's meeting?
You know, property tax, of course, is a big issue on our members' minds, and we have a lot of policy already on property tax. It's not something new that we're dealing with, but you know, I think there might be some tweaks to property tax. One of the things that we're also kind of concerned about just out in the rural country are our roads and bridges. There has not been a lot of money put in the infrastructure, but we all know that if we don't have the bridges and roads intact, we just can't get our commodities to market. It's not something that's going to be a short fix, but our members will discuss some different ideas of maybe how to get a little more funding into the roads and bridges.
Great, and I know that's something that has really come to light here as the infrastructure seems to, as you had mentioned, there seems to be some issues getting some of those commodities to town. Another thing you had mentioned earlier, data might be in the discussion. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, last year we established quite a bit of policy on data, and it's just one of those things that if you're not changing, and it's one of the new things that we're going to have to deal with and have policy in Nebraska Farm Bureau. A couple of ideas that we're going to be talking about as far as data is concerned is third party, who owns that data and how far does that data trickle, maybe when do they take the names out and aggregate that data together. Yeah, another issue on data is a lot of times if someone gives you some of the monitors and they want you to collect data on everything, do we have the right to shut that data on and off? So say we want to record data on one field, but not necessarily on another field. And so those are a couple of things surrounding the data issue that we're going to be visiting about tomorrow.
Okay, great. And as convention kicked off today, what are some of the things that you're dealing with today or looking forward to as convention rolls into tomorrow as well?
Well, I think, you know, it's just always good to get everybody together, get our membership together, and really, you know, in the hallways, drinking coffee, you know, is kind of where you get the ideas. But as a leader of our organization, it's just you need the touch with your members. You need to know what they're thinking. And tomorrow, we will find out very clearly what our members are thinking on all these subjects that we talked about, and probably several more.
Great. And just real briefly here, you had the opportunity to present President Steve Nelson in his address earlier and said you had spent a lot of time on the road with him. Talk just a little bit about this past year spent with Steve.
Yeah, you know, it was a big year for our political campaigns, and I'm a chair of our PAC committee. And so we had the opportunity to travel with Ben Sass and Pete Ricketts across the state for multiple days, and it was just really great to meet our members and to support our Friends of Agriculture. But just that time that you spend traveling with a person, as you know, anytime you go on a trip, you get to know people. And traveling with Steve for several days this summer, got to know him really well, and really he does bleed Farm Bureau, and he loves agriculture, and has been a good leader for organization, and look forward to his continued leadership.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Again, Mark McHargue is the first vice president with the Nebraska Farm Bureau, and we'll be dealing with a lot of your stuff later on tomorrow. For the Rural Radio Network from Kearney at the Nebraska Farm Bureau's 97th Annual Convention, I'm Shalee Peters.